Hello, ladies and gentlemen, Conodger here. Welcome back to Formula 1 2019 with good news. We are not going to Singapore. I had it in my head for some reason that we should be headed to Singapore, but that's the real F1 calendar, not ours. We still have to go to Monza. So we are going to Monza today, or this weekend, which I'm excited about. Should be a good weekend for us. And hey, look at our vehicle performance comparison here. Although it's still very, very, very close in the midfield, Alpha has jumped up to number 4. I think we got some work to do in the R&D tree. We had a powertrain upgrade parts failure, which is a bummer, but not a big deal. 250 points to get that going. And then I think we have everything done over here. Yeah, so we could do a major upgrade to like weight reduction. We could get this major upgrade going for weight redistribution, which is easy for me to say. They could do a minor one for tire blankets. Let's also look at aero. Is this a major drag reduction? It is. I wish that was a 1 week, because I would love to have it for Monza. We're 7 out of 26, 8 out of 26. Alright, well let's go for aero then. And let's do that major upgrade. Even though that will be ready for Singapore, and that's a bummer. We'll use Singapore as a week to do a couple 1 weeks so that we have for, you know, the next race, which I can't remember what it'll be, but the next race after Singapore, to have a good run there. That's what I'm gonna do. Okay. Everything else should be in good shape. I do believe I am getting up there in part wear. And yeah, I have some old parts fitted. That'll be fine for practice today. Probably qualifying, we'll put new parts on, since this is a power track. Hooray! 2 weeks in a row! Well, I guess we actually technically had a very, very little bit of rain yesterday. we had a little rain, or not yesterday, last week during qualifying, but this week it looks like 0 rain. That is good. Remember the no rain thing? It's raining in practice. Oh, man. Well, so much for this practice session. Alright, Monza, I went ahead and loaded my Canada setup because they're usually pretty close, and hopefully it'll work out okay for us. I think the big thing is I'm running basically no camera in the car, because that seems to really... When I say no, I mean the minimum amount it'll let you run. It seems to help with these fast tracks, and pretty low aero as well, but I might go lower than that. We'll see. Oops. Hopefully that didn't just reset my setup. Nope, we're good. And let's go out for some acclimatizing. Oh, we want us to go on mediums. That's interesting. It's usually... Oh, probably because it's practice 2. Yeah, I skipped through practice 1 because it was going to rain all session. Alright, let's hit the track here. So, it's really good that we're not at Singapore, because I spent yesterday working on the 240 and the ramp truck, and then also helping repair a Celica. About 12 hours of work in the garage, and during that time I managed to full force punch the core support of the 240. I don't think I quite broke my finger, but let's just say it's not exactly bending anymore. It doesn't want to bend without pain. So it's very good that we're not at Singapore. I'm just kind of... Luckily, it's my pointer finger on my right hand, and I just kind of have it hanging out there chilling. Ooh, I need a little bit more front brake bias. It's, wanting to lock the rears real bad. Which is a spooky feeling. Other than that, the car feels really good. Alright. Boy, this feels like one of those tracks I could get the all purple at. I've never done it. Oh, not gonna do it here. That was green, but I might try for a second lap. This probably isn't gonna be perfect either way. And let's bring that to 54. What was the turn here to brake for? Boy, the nose of the car feels really planted. I like the way the nose feels. I just instinctually tried to use my pointer finger to shift, and I hate it. Okay, let's try to do better here. Boy, it still feels slippery on the brakes. Okay, we got purple there. I've never done it, not even in F1 2018. And none of the seasons, or none of the races so far this season have I gotten an all purple track acclimatization. And this game's a lot easier than 2018 was as far as this program goes. So I feel like I should be able to do it. No, it was green there. It's a lot harder than it would seem to do it. A lot of times it just feels so random what they are looking for turn to turn. I guess I was too far off on that one, like too far right. I just don't know. Oh well, it'll be a good score for the program anyway. So I guess it's appropriate we're coming to Monza. Oh, red! Oh, well, I guess we're doing 3 laps today. Appropriate after the discussions from last week about track limits. And apparently, I have got to figure out the brakes. I went from locking the rears real bad to now I'm locking the fronts real bad. I might just need to back off on pressure. I'm not sure what it is, but yeah, I just don't feel like I have a brake pedal under the car. I guess we're not going to have a perfect score on this one at all. Went from thinking I can get a completely perfect lap to only a good result. Not that it really matters. It's just a silly thing. Yeah, I certainly got myself into some hot water there because I guess it sounded like I was taking sides, and that's one of those arguments that has predetermined sides versus what I was talking about was kind of irrelevant to that, but it's one of those topics that as soon as I brought it up, people were able to extrapolate which side I was on, or at least so they thought. And you know, they divvied out their dislikes and left from there, and that's part of the reason that I feel like F1 is a hard motorsport to get into, because there's a lot of these very, very strong feelings about a lot of the things to do with Formula One that you don't necessarily get in other forms of racing.
Consider giving it another shot.
Right, whatever, Jeff. I think, I mean, at least, you know, I was able to have a discussion about it, and I feel like explain what I was really thinking about all this stuff, and how it wasn't necessarily to do with, you know, having track limits or not. It was more discussion on how it's an ever-changing thing, and how the shut up, Jeff. The pursuit of safety changes the sport, and I feel like a lot of the times the pursuit of safety changes the sport, and then I feel like Formula One puts a lot of emphasis on maintaining the tradition of the sport, and sometimes backhands their own motivation to make it safer. So when they installed, you know, I'm driving over here so I can show it, the curb outside of Parabolica, that wasn't a safety decision, I don't feel. That was a sporting decision. So this used to be all dirt out here. Now you can see that they've gotten this slick turf right here. Well, they went even further than that, and they put a curb right about here, a bump, so that you just absolutely couldn't go out there. That didn't feel like a decision to try and encourage drivers to stay away. It felt like a decision to make it a punishment for going out there. And like I said, they just backhanded their own motivation to make that turn safer by making it unsafe again to try and, you know, maintain the sport, the sporting atmosphere there. And I struggle with that stuff personally. This is my own personal take. I don't really get into a lot of the sporting stuff because I don't do any other kind of sports. I don't watch the soccers, the footballs, the footballs, the rugby, whatever. I've never been a sports person. So a lot of that like sporting regulation stuff when it comes to racing, it flies over my head. I just don't get it. I don't understand the motivation there. And I think that's frustrating for people, that I don't get that stuff, that it doesn't click with me. And that's fine. That's cool. I'm willing to admit that I am not a perfect person, and I certainly don't have, you know, a well-formed and educated opinion about everything. I can be wrong, or I can just be ignorant. But I'm always trying to learn, and I'm always trying to have the conversations. I'm not here to pick a side. I'm not here to, you know, it doesn't give me any satisfaction to try and, you know, win an argument for a side or not. The only satisfaction I get is in having discussions and learning the why. And I know the why of, you know, why turns like that they've paved runoffs. And I'm not going to say that I love that the runoffs are paved now, because, you know, it does certainly change a lot to do with the way tracks work. And sometimes it seems to make tracks work worse as a driver when you do that. But I understand and respect the reason for it. You know, to make the track not as dangerous, to make racing not as dangerous for the drivers and for spectators and for, you know, everybody. That's not a nonsensical thing to do. I totally get it. It was just really frustrating to me, like I said, to see them not do something that I felt like was in the efforts of safety on something that they did in the efforts of safety. It felt very bizarre to me. So I probably drew out a lot more emotion from me than you're probably used to seeing. Man, this car is good around here. I also had a comment that I have the difficulty too easy. Maybe. Like, I'm sure I could put it higher. But I like where we're at. I'm enjoying it. I feel like we've had very enjoyable races. I'm having fun with it. Like, I truly enjoy every time I do these races, even if they are rainy. And frustrating at times. I love doing these races more than I ever did, really. And this has probably been the most fun format for this series I've ever done. It's a shame that it's obviously, you know, gotten a little long in the tooth and people have kind of lost interest in it. Because, yeah, I'm certainly enjoying it more now than I ever did. This lap was a little slow, so I went up in DRS. I think I got the brake balance and pressure in the good territory. I gotta watch out in qualifying, especially Q1, for the car to be a lot different. If it's gonna be A, sunny, and B, if I'm gonna have a lot more power from the new engine components. Gotta be careful with that. And the fact of the matter is, this car has gotten pretty good. I think it started alright. But with all the developments on it now, I feel like we're easily in, at some tracks, the third or fourth best car in the grid. Probably fourth, but, you know, on occasion I think it might be third. And that's a pretty big improvement from the start of the season. Some of the sprinkles out here. I might have to throw some battery power into it to make this lap. Why am I getting passed right here? It might be on a qualifying run. If so, that was bad timing on their part. Ain't my fault. Yeah, we were able to just power away right there. Yeah, I'd love to see if he's on softs. I feel like there's a little bit I could find down here in Parabolica. Are you on softs? Yep. Well, sorry, I guess. I didn't mean to ruin your qualifying attempt lap, but I was on my own lap attempt. Alright, these sprinkles are gonna make it pretty undrivable for a qualifying run, I believe. I'll probably do it next session. Alright, let's look at our part situation here before qualifying. I only have a 58 and a 52 ICE to use. I guess I'm going to use the 52 here, since this is such a power track. The kinetic energy, I have a 46 to use. I'll use that one. We got 2 at 46 on the MGUH. We'll use one of those. Energy store is still in pretty good shape. Oh wait, I was reading that all wrong. This one would be a 0%. Which one did I choose? Oh, we're good. And is this one a 0%? Now it's a 0%. I was reading the wrong thing. Alright, so this is at 42. We'll put this one to new as well, since we have 2 available there. Turbocharger was about done, but that one, we have a brand new one to use. Control electronics, we have a brand new one to use, and we're just going to do it. So, overall wear, 58%. Where is that 58% coming from? Gearbox, perhaps? I don't really know. Everything engine-wise is going to be brand new. So maybe that 58% is just the gearbox? I don't know. I don't know. I don't understand it all. But let's go to qualifying.
Practice is all wrapped up as we move into qualifying here at the Autodromo di Monza for the Italian Grand Prix. Any moment now, the teams will be heading out onto the track.
That we will be. Feeling pretty good about this one. I don't think we're going to have... Oops. Okay. I don't think we're going to have any problem making it out of Q1. So I'm going to go ahead and save myself a set of softs. Even though it's 8/10 down, I really think that's still going to be enough, believe it or not. So we're going to go out and do a flying lap on mediums. Give it a shot. I'm not going to do mediums in Q2 because this is not the kind of track where I think you want to do an inverse strategy. Nor would that really help us here. But I'd like to save a set of softs for qualifying because I feel like we have a good chance at a front row grid spot. We had a really good practice qualifying program. It looked like the car had a lot of pace, and with these new engine components, it should be a rocket down these straightaways. I'll probably have to brake a little early for turn 1 on these mediums, and this much straightaway speed certainly did. There's a lot of straightaway speed. A little hard to get the power down. No, the balance of the car is as good as I've ever felt around this track. I don't know what it is about this Alpha, but it just really seems to click with me. Makes me hesitant about changing teams in the future. But I know people like it when I do that. And what if I go into a Red Bull and I don't like the way that car drives? It's just part of the challenge. Boy, that's really nice. It was really nice, and then I wet myself. Wow. So much for doing a lap on softs, huh? Or on mediums. Oh man, Vettel did it on mediums. Oh, we could have as well. That's too bad. I decided to give it another try on the same set of mediums, because we have plenty of time. It's Monza, the track's so short, so fast. It's not really an issue. Definitely felt a little skatey. I definitely was a little easier on it through there. But I think it's got so much straightaway speed that it might be alright. Certainly been catching Perez this lap. I don't know if he's on an in-lap or what. Yeah, he was. So that doesn't really give me a lot of indication. 23 puts us P10. I don't feel too confident about that, really. Well, I bolted a set of softs on there.
We have 2 laps of fuel remaining.
I wasn't feeling confident enough with it. And I think we're gonna, like, stomp down a really good time here. Probably well within the top 10. P3, yep. Right up there with Raikkonen. Feeling pretty good about it. Alright, well, now we can advance to Q2. Just a bummer that we couldn't do the medium tire strategy. No real loss there, though. Yep, and a Q1 in P3, just ahead of Kimi. Got about a half a second to find for those Mercedes. I don't know if that's gonna happen. But it looks like we might be a disruptor. Perhaps me and Kimi could be disruptors. That would be cool. Maybe get the second row lockout or something like that. Alright, let's go ahead and head to track right now for Q2. Trying to get a good lap in immediately and make it a one and done, since I've already put a lot of undue wear on the car. Doing 3 runs in Q1 is kind of ridiculous. So I'd like to get this over with right now. I was happy about Monza because it's a shorter race and wouldn't be so taxing on the old hand, finger, but now I'm doing a lot of extra qualifying to make up for it. Pretty good gap, but we got a Williams ahead of us. Okay. A lot of wheel spin there, but it's so much better than on mediums. I can't even explain to you how different the car drives. When you're in this high power mode, it's just next to impossible to get the power down in those mediums. Big slide right there, though. Yeah, it really got the whole car upset. Even though the car was upset, I feel like we may have maintained enough speed for it to not matter. Might just have a slow sector too. Really good out of there. He might be getting a little hint of a slipstream down the front straightaway. Which, as you all know, was a major topic in Monza. Everybody going for the slipstream. Luckily, the AI don't seem to know to do that. 22-1, fastest lap so far. Might be good enough to get us through. I would hope so. We'll see. I'll track it. Kimi, what are you doing? Kimi, why? There he goes. All right, P3, P8. Again, Kimi loses time though after Q1. I don't understand how that keeps happening. All right, so now we go to Q3. We got 2 sets of tires to use, and I plan on using them. I want to go for as high up the grid here as possible. Let's go for an immediate run, and then I'll wait for the end for the new set. Assuming that I have a new set. Yeah, I will have a new set. No car sounds again. Really? Apparently this is a known bug that happens in Q3, but they have done nothing about it. Well, I guess I just gotta drive by feel. Feel and visuals, that's all I got. Bounce. Bouncy bounce. You can hear the PA system. That's so awkward. Break about there. It's hard to shift. It's hard to know. Hard to know when you're in wheel spin or not. It's hard to know when your RPMs are right for the downshifts. What a stupid and annoying bug this is. And why is it always Q3? It was Q3 the last time, wasn't it? Pretty sure. Kind of dirt a bit there. Definitely lost some time. This is no seagulls here. Where was that? Canada? I think it was Canada. Must be the setup, huh? Said I was using my Canada setup. Those two are drafting off each other up there. That's going to give whichever Mercedes that is a darn good lap time. Well, alright, well. We got into the ones, the 121.7 with no sounds. I'll go do another lap at the end of the session, but I won't make you live through having to awkwardly listen to all of my steering wheel sounds and my terrible voice without a car. Nice little pickup out of there. Gets me 4/10 up. I don't think we're going to be anywhere near the second row like I wanted to be. I went down to third. This is probably the hardest turn without sound. No, yep. Gave up a ton of time through there. Qualifying is complete. The 10th up. Hey, there's our sounds. Thanks, game. Appreciate it. 5th. Well, I'll live with it. I'll deal with it. Silly, silly video
We're all
game.
ready for tomorrow's race, but before we begin, let's have a quick look at those
wow,
who will be
Ferrari's
fronting the
picked up a
grid.
ton of
Vettel,
time in Q3.
Hamilton and Valtteri Bottas. With qualifying complete, all that remains is the...
All right. Well, that'll be our starting spot for the race, assuming that there's no penalties at play. Pretty good run for us and Kimi there. Leading both rivalries. Teams are all happy. Let's see, Red Bull, Aston Martin, Red Bull. Like, they're the number 3 or 4 team on the list. Certainly still eyeballing that. But Alpha just is elated with us at the moment. And no interviews or anything like that today.
Very solid results. You're looking good for the race.
I hope we have sounds for the race. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you next time for the Monza Italian Grand Prix.